You've heard me talk a lot about the importance of progressive overload. Week by week, follow a training plan that builds on itself. But what do you do when you get off schedule and you fall behind in your progression? You might not feel sure about how to re-engage in training. The thought of being behind makes you hesitate about where to jump back in. The reality is that life gets in the way for most people. If you miss a workout periodically, or even a week of training, then you're among the majority. Subscribing to the idea that you must be absolutely unwavering with your consistency if you want to get better can be overwhelming. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that the concept of progression and overload aren't important. Our bodies are highly evolved organisms that have a mission. That mission is to find homeostasis. In other words, our bodies fight change. Both change for the positive and change for the negative. It's why we can't ruin our results overnight by overindulging in pizza, but it's also why we can't grow muscle without progressively overloading. So when does progressive overload miss the mark? It sucks when, as a concept, it keeps you from realizing that missing training this Friday or this week isn't actually going to send you back to zero. Progressive overload sucks as a concept when it keeps you from doing the right thing after a couple days of being out of the gym. The right thing is to get right back into the gym and just do the best that you can on that day. So you've been following a solid diet plan for the past month. You've been making slow but steady progress towards your goals. Then your birthday comes, and two different groups of friends and family want to take you out for dinner. Each night you drink and eat in excess. You wake up each morning feeling bloated, and when you step on the scale, you see that your weight shot up by 5 pounds. What should you do? Say screw it and start eating junk food every day because you just ruined your whole healthy eating consistency streak? Nope. The right thing to do is realize that those 2 days don't negate the last 30 days of consistency and quality choices. So instead, you'll wake up on day 3 and continue making better nutritional choices. At first, you'll go back to simply prioritizing protein. Then, you'll focus on sticking to your whole, unprocessed foods. Finally, your last step will be to start managing your calorie intake the way you were before your birthday. The first day is going to be hard. In fact, it may feel way harder than it was before on day 29. You just fed your brain a new set of food and taste signals, and you'll need to recalibrate. That's why on day 1, you focus mainly on just getting in your protein. The second day back will feel tough, but not as hard as day 1. On this day, you might make it a goal to avoid all processed foods and stick to whole foods that you felt inspired to cook. By the 3rd or 4th day, you might feel almost back to your old self. It might feel like you never stopped. It is on this day that you get more specific about your calorie goals, and maybe you start the focused tracking of your meals that you were doing before your birthday. You were able to arrive back at this place relatively quickly because you made the choice to start immediately. Use simple principles to get back on track, and then dial in your process each day that you felt better and better. Taking 2 days off meant about 4 days to get back on track. Taking a week off might mean that it takes 2 weeks to get back on track. The longer the hiatus, the longer the road back will feel. However, as long as you focus on the right things at the right stages, it can feel totally manageable and you'll feel the benefits very quickly. The same goes for training. The key is focusing on the right things at the right stages of your re-entry into training. What you absolutely should not focus on the first days or weeks back to training after a layoff is, what did I lift the last time I did this exercise? I mean, they say if you aren't adding weight, you aren't getting stronger, right? Where was I at in the progression of this training cycle, and how can I build off of that today? I mean, they say if you don't add reps each week, then you can't build muscle. Did I push myself to 10 out of 10 effort? I mean, they say if you have too many reps left in the tank, then you're just wasting your time lifting. If you're misguided with this type of thinking and you jump right back into training the way you did before, back when you were consistent each day for weeks and months on end, then you are going to be disappointed and likely hit an obstacle. Trying to pick up right where you left off results in feeling discouraged that you couldn't hit the same weights, feeling exhausted and overworked by trying to do too much on your first days back and possibly pushing yourself too hard and getting a tweak or worse, an injury. And lastly, being so sore that you have an even harder time training on days 2 and 3 and needing to take extra time off, which doesn't get you back in a rhythm. Stack wins step by step. Just like the nutrition example, our goal is to start stacking wins. For this, we need to align the top 3 principles for every ramp-up phase of training. Number 1, warm up well. Make this the most important part of your time in the gym. This will help you shake off the rust and mentally arrive for your movement session. Remember, we are using this time to move blood, work on your range of motion and stability, and ultimately make training sessions more effective and have fewer injuries. Number 2, move with quality. Your only goal when you come back to training after an absence is to move with purpose and quality. Technique and form should be paramount. No junk reps and nothing so hard that you can't execute good form. And number 3, prioritize lifting something heavy-ish. I often see when people take time off and they get psychologically behind in their training that they'll opt for doing cardio or some boot camp style workout to get back into things. Lifting weights should always be the priority when coming back. Get the nervous system and the muscle tissue to wake up and become alive again. Remember to move with quality, but do focus on lifting something that feels somewhat heavy on those first days back or weeks back. Think about trying to achieve the 7 out of 10 on the effort scale. This will keep you safe, but it will get your brain and muscles stimulated. Those adaptations back will be fast and fruitful. If you followed the above steps to this point, then you're likely starting to get in the ballpark of your previous training numbers. This is the final step. After days or weeks of prioritizing your warm-ups, moving with quality, and starting to push heavy loads, you'll feel more like your old self. Now you can think about progressive overload again as a guiding principle to growth. Stuff happens, but health is a lifelong pursuit. Long-term consistency isn't measured over days, weeks, or even months. It is measured over years. A good training program like Persist is designed in such a way that you can jump in and out at any time. And if you follow these steps, you can be on a path to progress and build robust health and fitness in no time. Try not to get caught up too much in the overwhelm of the day-to-day inconsistencies. They happen to all of us. Yes, even to me. On special occasions, sometimes I eat so much that I wake up heavy, bloated, and feeling overwhelmed with getting back on track. So day 1, I focus on protein quality. Day 2, I prep all my food and eat home-cooked meals. And day 3, I'm already feeling better and following my macros much more closely. Where are you struggling if you're feeling this one too? I'd love to hear from you, share your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next one.